You are strong, child, but I am beyond strength. You are alone, child. Before there was time, before there was anything, there was nothing. And before there was nothing, there were monsters. I am the end.
The gym is empty today. Nobody wants to work out.
If you don't know, this is Dorian Yates, and to say Dorian Yates was big is an understatement. At 5'10", he would come in at 265 pounds on stage, and he would weigh up to 300 pounds during the off-season. Something this massive hadn't really been seen on a bodybuilding stage before. Because of this, Dorian would dominate in the 90s, winning 6 consecutive Olympias from 1992 to 1997. Undeniably, he is one of the greatest bodybuilders of all time, but Dorian Yates also unknowingly damaged the sport in a way that may never be fixed. Today, the bodybuilding scene we know looks vastly different to the one of the 1990s.
I wasn't there when they came up with it, but I'm beginning to be kind of obsessing over something. I think the Caniac was named after me, man.
In the modern era, there has been a focus on finding the perfect balance of size and aesthetics, which is why a division like Classic Physique, where competitors face a strict weight cap, has become increasingly popular. For context, there are 2 main divisions men's competitive bodybuilding focuses on: Classic Physique and Open Bodybuilding. The primary difference between the two is that Open Bodybuilding has no weight restrictions, whereas Classic Physique does, based on a competitor's height. For example, if you are 6 foot, you could only weigh up to 217 pounds competing in Classic, but in the Open division, the sky is the limit. If you can come on stage 300 pounds and lean, you're welcome to try your shot at becoming an Olympia champion. For most of bodybuilding history, Open Bodybuilding has been far more popular, which is why the prize pool is much greater than Classic. In 2024, the Classic champion took home $60,000. On the other hand, the Open champion took home 10 times as much in prize winnings at $600,000. So it makes more sense to compete in Open Bodybuilding in order to win a bigger prize, right? Well, here's the catch. The era of big, mass monster bodybuilders is rapidly dying, both literally and figuratively, and I don't think this trend is changing anytime soon. There is a reason why most people even remotely interested in the fitness world can tell you who this is, but not who this is. Yet Sebum was the Classic Olympia champion, and this, Big Ramy, was the Open Olympia champion in 2021.
Forget it now that I've been Mr. Olympia and all this, but let's say I'm not a judge, and I sit there. The question is, whose body do I want to have? That's what it comes down to.
Now, if we're being honest, Sebum is a bit of an outlier, given the fact that he does have otherworldly genetics. I mean, he quite literally put Classic Physique on the map. But even Arnold, someone who Sebum is often compared to, competed in Open Bodybuilding. Yet in 2025, Sam Sulek, the beloved bodybuilding star, competed for the first time, not in the Open division, but in Classic. From just a glance at his off-season physique, would you really guess that Sam is a Classic bodybuilder? It's clear that he is quite literally shredding off muscle in order to make the weight cap to compete in Classic, rather than compete in Open. Another person who is a good example of this is Urs, someone who shockingly makes the drastic weight cut down to Classic instead of competing in Open as well.
275 pounds. Remember, this guy, he has to cut down for Classic Physique, what is it, 230? 220. He thinks he's going to lose 55 pounds to make the weight limit? He probably has more muscle than the weight limit. I don't know how you're going to lose all this weight. So big.
But why? Why would they do this? Why would they force themselves to cut down to Classic Physique weight requirements when they're making less money? Well, there's a few reasons. For one, some people might argue that it's because Open Bodybuilding has become too competitive. And others might argue that it's because modern competitors are more aware of the risk that comes with abusing steroids to the level that an open bodybuilder has to. Those arguments are fine and all, but I really do believe it boils down to one main factor: aesthetics. Open bodybuilders don't look aesthetic anymore, and it's killing the division and it's killing them. As it turns out, more muscle might not always be better. But to truly understand this shift from mass to aesthetics, we have to go back to where it all started. The year is 1980. Arnold, 7-time Olympia champion and pioneer for the sport of bodybuilding, has just retired after a controversial comeback win. Let's take a glance at how the top 5 competitors looked in this competition. Very lean, with a decent amount of muscle size, but no one could have guessed how much the sport would change in just 10 short years. Which takes us to 1992 and the true beginning of the mass monster era. Dorian never did press conferences or interviews, and he didn't even confirm or deny whether or not he was going to compete at the Olympia. You see, he approached competition and the sport in a completely different way. He was given the nickname The Shadow, because before and after competitions, that's pretty much what he was, a shadow. He just stayed in his dungeon and went to work. And it was this work, this insane mentality that showed the bodybuilding world what was possible. No one knew that someone could be so massive, weighing so much, still maintain that level of leanness and aesthetics. All it took was one person pushing the barrier to kickstart a generational surge of mass monsters. Think of guys like Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, Phil Heath. This effect is actually common in the sports world. The most popular example is the 4-minute mile. The story goes, until 1954, the track and field world thought that it was physically impossible to run a 4-minute mile. Then this guy, Roger Bannister, did just that, and ran a mile in 3 minutes and 59 seconds. After that, in just a few weeks, people started breaking the 4-minute mile all over the world, despite the fact that it had never been done prior. This is now known as the Roger Bannister effect. People just needed to see that it was possible. It's like when you watch someone complete a difficult level in a game or solve a hard puzzle. Just knowing that it can be done gives you the confidence that you too can do it. For example, take Steph Curry and the 3-point shot. That's the Roger Bannister effect in motion. Hardly anyone shot the 3 like Curry at that volume prior, but now it feels like everyone chucks up threes. And in the bodybuilding world, this is the Dorian Yates effect, which is this idea of coming on stage in open bodybuilding and being massive, lean, and yet still aesthetic.
Each generation of bodybuilders are pushing the chemical envelope a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more.
Like I said before, the Dorian Yates effect is how we get people like Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, and Phil Heath. These bodybuilders don't look like this without someone like Dorian coming first. Arnold was the gold standard in the golden era. Everyone at the time wanted to train like him and look like him, but the 90s was a new era. But here's the problem. You, yes you, are not Dorian Yates. You are not Ronnie Coleman, and you are not Jay Cutler. And neither are most of these modern day open bodybuilders, but they have taken it too far. They're forgetting a key variable in this mass monster equation. Mass plus leanness plus aesthetics equals a mass monster. You are not a mass monster because you are massive and muscular. You are just a monster. Aesthetics are what made these guys mass monsters, because maintaining aesthetics while being that lean and massive hadn't been seen before. But now look at open bodybuilding. Their guts are literally spilling out and they can hardly even breathe. It's like the Steph Curry example I gave earlier. Everyone wants to imitate the greats, but no one pays attention to what made them great in the first place. The little things like the form, the timing, the technique, it all matters. Much like with mass monsters, modern open bodybuilders believe that they can blast steroids and go on a perma bulk to win Olympias. And you know what? They might be right for now. Except if this keeps up, then I can guarantee not only the death of mass monsters, but the extinction of the open bodybuilding division altogether.